Yeah, I think I'll be waiting for
Disney
we'll get
more into IGN and that's fine. Yeah, I think that's a good. This is, I like The Mandalorian.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
That's it.
All right.
I don't know if it's enough to get me to the theater.
Sure. All right. Hello and welcome everyone to episode 122 of the GGG Podcast. As always, I am Paul, and joining me is Phil, our illustrious co-host. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to the GGG Podcast over on YouTube, please do so. And if you're listening to the audio-only version on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow us over there as well. Very thankful for our viewers, especially on the audio side of the podcast this month. Via our podcast audio distributor, we are ranked 20th in video games, beating our previous top score of 28th. So that is awesome. So thank you for downloading and playing.
Hey, take that, everybody.
Yeah.
Below us. Take that, 7 other podcasts.
Exactly. How you doing this week, Phil? What have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing quite a bit, actually. I have dipped back into Absalom. I will say that for sure. They added some updates that, I feel like really changed the game. Some new, challenges, some difficulties, and it's just such an easy game to play. So, yeah, back in there for sure. I've also been playing quite a bit of Subnautica 2. That game released last week, and it is so close to being finished, it feels like. It is, they're adding more into the game, but it is already, in my opinion, an upgraded Subnautica 1. It's beautiful, it's very fun to advance, and it's just so easy to get, hooked in, and chasing that feeling of discovery is, it's, mwah, you just can't beat it. Aside from that, I feel like there's something else I've been playing. Let me look at my lists of games. I'm back in Battlefield. I think I've mentioned that.
Yeah, it's had a number of updates, so makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of fun again. And some Marvel Rivals. I played the new Devil Dinosaur character. He's just broken. He's just, at this point, he's broken. They got to fix it.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that because I want everybody to play the new character for a little while. But it's really fun. So, but that's about it on my end. Paul, what have you been playing this week?
I haven't had a lot of time, so I've been just kind of dipping my toes in. I've kind of fallen off of Soros. Haven't really played much of that at all. And then I got to complain about this real quick. So last week on the podcast, we talked about how Discord, if you had Discord Nitro, you would get access to Xbox Game Pass. And so I linked my account, went in to check that out. And it turns out that Xbox Game Pass Essential does not have any freaking games on it, unfortunately. Or at least the games that it does have on it are games that I already own, like Batman Arkham Asylum or Dark Tide, which came out 4 years ago. Halo Wars 2. Not Halo Wars 1 though. So
not the good one. Not the good one. So can't give us that.
I'm a little PO'd. It does kind of feel like just kind of a waste, but I don't know. PC Game Pass isn't that much more expensive, but I was just excited because I was getting this with an existing subscription. So, aside from that, I've been got into the Soulframe beta, which if you haven't heard about Soulframe before, it is for the makers of Warframe. So if you ever played Warframe, it's been out for forever. I think it came out in 2013, maybe even earlier than that. And just has been getting crazy updates. Soulframe is their fantasy, sort of with still sci-fi elements. Maybe the universes are still connected kind of a thing, but it feels and looks quite different. So I was happy to get into the beta. I got a copy of the beta code from a Game Informer magazine. So if you're looking to get into the beta without paying anything, you can go and buy. Well, I guess you have to buy a Game Informer, but yeah. So I've been enjoying that. I've just been having some glitches, which make sense for a beta. I got stuck in this loop where this mission objective wasn't triggering, and I had to do it 3 times in order for it to trigger. And I was getting frustrated because you get in the headspace of am I just not getting what the game wants me to do? And, when you realize, no, the game is just glitched out and you didn't do anything wrong. It's very frustrating. So, but I've played it on and off for a little bit. It definitely, for an MMO, it looks really good graphically, and the combat also does not feel like MMO combat in its like jankiness. So I'm happy with it.
That's
so
important.
far.
I feel like that's the thing that pulls me out the most with MMOs, where just like, okay, like it's you do something and you're like, okay, I'm gonna wait for this to happen. While I do that, let me brew some tea.
Yes, exactly. And especially like I think the last MMO I really played, I mean, aside from like Destiny, would be like the Elder Scrolls Online, also available on Game Pass Essential. Yeah, it was good to see something that like played well and looked well at the same time. I don't know if the universe is really pulling me in, but I'm gonna give it some more time and see what it can do. So yeah.
Honestly, with that, with the amount of stuff that's out there right now, the I'm going to give it more time is a pretty good endorsement of like this game is at least interesting. So you know what? Props to them and Soulframe.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the major game releases this week. A hugely anticipated game, Lego Batman, has come out. Everybody has been raving about it. I'm not the biggest Batman fan myself. I don't hate Batman by any means. I'm just not a Batman guy. But essentially, the story takes all of Batman canon and kind of meshes it into one fluid story with tons of references to the different Batman movies. Series to Batman TV shows, just the whole Batman universe. So everybody who is a Batman fan has been absolutely loving it, and you know there have been less and less Lego games that have been coming out. So I think this is good for Batman fans, good for Lego fans, good for kids. You know, if I had a kid, this is definitely a game I'd probably get for them. So.
This does seem like Lego Batman the movie, the game. In that Lego Batman is one of my favorite Batman movies, and I think it does the best job of sort of celebrating the essence of what makes Batman Batman. Mm-hmm. There is a something like draped over it in terms of a story, but I feel like this game feels like they took Arkham games, like different iterations of Batman, and jumbled them all up together and were like, let's just make a funny little thing that really gets you to play a lot of different Batman stories. So I'm really happy about it. This is one, I don't really mess with Lego games. I feel like they're usually kind of iffy. This is one that I would consider getting on a sale because the combat seems like they also took a lot from Arkham Asylum. That is the kind of combat they built into this, which is great. Yeah. So I'm in.
Yeah, I there's nothing against the quality of the game, but just because it's not really for me, I see this as kind of like when it comes to Game Pass or when it comes to PlayStation Plus kind of a game for me as well. Mm-hmm. All right, next up on the list, Forza Horizon 6. If you have a proper Game Pass, unlike me, you can play this through Game Pass right now. Forza Horizon 6 is getting incredible reviews online. People are saying it's one of the best Forzas ever. And Forza has, I feel for many years now been the top racing simulator game. I feel like it's done better than Gran Turismo, as much as people like that game as well. I think that Forza, especially the last couple iterations of it, have done a very good job of incorporating, okay, if you want a super realistic racing sim game, this is your game, but we're also going to throw in some arcadey things into the game for players who are not as into just the simulation element. So I'm not a big racing sim guy, but I have to say all the cool videos and the great reviews for this game, it's making me think about it. So yeah, kudos to you, Xbox. You got a good game.
I'm definitely someone who, when it comes to racing games, I look at the screen and I question why. Why, God, have you done this to me? What is the point of me driving a '89 Honda? That like a lot of the times that is what I feel like they're trying. Like specifically Sims. Like, oh my God, this is so boring. I'm feeling the turn radius on this car so fun, so good for me. And I will say that Forza, specifically their simulation part of it, if you like that, this is the game for you. If you want to have fun, you got to go get Burnout. You got to just play Burnout. There's no other good racing game since then, and it's a real tragedy that has befallen this world. This is also what IGN gave a 10, which is a pretty fun. Again, we talked about IGN, the rating system's all jacked up. In the video that they're talking about why the game is a 10, we see a racetrack where it like curves around the corner, and the back of your car phases through an NPC car, and I'm like, so why is that in the video if that's when you're saying it's a masterpiece? No, it's not. It's just okay. Anywho, the Forza Horizon, play it. I guess I have it available on Game Pass, and I keep looking at it. And I'm like, that's 120 gigs, not worth it.
Yeah, that is a big investment if you're not really a racing sim guy. So I won't push you on that one, Phil. All right, next up, Deep Rock Rogue Core. This is from the same people who make Deep Rock Galactic. It's the same universe as Deep Rock Galactic, same art style, everything, but this is the rogue-like version of Deep Rock Galactic. And this is a full game. This is not a DLC. This is not an update or anything like that. This is its own separate entity. They have 6 new playable classes, and it's just, go as far as you can and keep drilling to get to the center. So roguelike style. So I'm a huge Deep Rock fan. I wanted to make sure that this was listed in our major game releases. I'm going to be picking it up. What's really weird that I have to say is that it comes out the day after we're recording this. And on Steam, you can add it to your wish list. It's coming out in early access. But you can add it to your wish list, but it does not have a price listed. So I have no idea how much this game is going to cost. Which is very, very strange. So, yes.
If I could predict, I'm going to say $20 because those Deep Rock folks know how to make a game at a decent price.
Absolutely.
This is very exciting. I mean, Deep Rock Survivor they kind of stretched themselves out a little bit and made a great game there. Mm-hmm. The original Deep Rock is great, and this just looks like a roguelike version of the original. I trust that they know what they're doing. Very excited for Deep Rock Rogue Core.
Yeesh. Next up, we got a lot of releases this week. Thick as Thieves, also releasing in early access. For those of you who haven't heard of Thick as Thieves, it is a thief game. What a surprise. But the unique thing about it is you actually can play cooperatively with another thief. And so it kind of reminds me of, oh boy, what is that game? Dishonored. It kind of reminds me of Dishonored quite a bit, but less opportunities and options for combat. It really seems like they want you to be a thief. They want you to play sneaky. Yes, things can get loud, but once things get loud, you enter a state of like, we got to run and we got to get the heck out of here. So, I'm always happy to see games of different genres coming out. It's getting kind of okay reviews right now, but hopefully since it's an early access game, it'll get a little bit better over time. So I think it's Thieves.
Very cool. It's found a new niche, multiplayer thieving. Like we have a lot of thieving games, just not that many multiplayer ones.
Yeah. That's very true.
Pretty cool.
All right, what's last up?
I'll take up the last one here.
Do it.
Zero Parades for Dead Thieves. This is a game from the developers of Disco Elysium, which was a pretty well-regarded RPG. I think it was a lot of places Game of the Year when it came out, or at least a number of places Game of the Year when it came out. A very in-depth, like non-combat focused RPG, so it's all about the relationships you're forming, choices that you make. I think even down to like different styles of clothes that you wear kind of give you bonuses in your charisma or your intimidation or all that stuff. They're known for really twisting stories and really like well-written characters. So if this game is more of that, it's going to be a great time. I believe that comes out tomorrow, and the price, I believe, is $20. Nope, no price listed on Steam. That's great. Yes, love that for me.
Hey, same for Rogue Core, so I'm right there with you. But yeah,
I'm guessing $29.99. That's my guess. So quote us. You know what I mean?
yeah. All right. So 0 parades for dead spies. Very cool. I had not heard of that one. All right. Well, let's get into the news for this week. First up, Civilization 7. Sid Meier, he put some elbow grease into it, and he finally released the Test of Time update. I think
Sid got off his ass,
yes,
and decided to finally.
It's like, Sid, we really messed up Civ 7. We need you to get in here and do something for once. So very happy to see this update finally come out. I have been talking about this since Civ 7 launched. Which I think was last February, maybe even before then. And so the Test of Time update, mostly, there's several things that have been added here, but the big thing is when you are moving from one age to the next age, you are now allowed to stay as the civilization that you started as. So if you started as Egypt, you might have to switch to Spain when you go into the Renaissance age, which everybody was pissed off about because it went against, what Civ had been doing for the entire time it has been a franchise. So that's really nice. And then another big thing is there's been a huge overhaul of the user interface in the game. I've had tons of problems with this where, especially when you're playing Civilization, which is really just like a board game, where I am not understanding always what is contributing to my score being better than other players in the game. And so it does a really good job of being like, okay, this is what your cities are producing, and these are different menus to see, like little charts on how you're doing, everything like that. And, more buttons, because I feel like they leaned into like their iPad mode of like, we want as little buttons as possible because people are playing with their fingers. And if I'm playing on a PC, give me more buttons. I'm using a mouse. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that this update is finally out. It came out today, the day that we are recording this, May 19th. So I haven't tried it myself yet, but I'm curious to get in there and see if it, actually is awesome. And then, I did want to add that there is a free leader that as well has been added with the update. You do not have to buy any of the DLC. So that was nice of them to include that. I think this is definitely an apology update kind of a vibe. So
we love an apology update. I think some of the best games in the world, Cyberpunk, that whole game is basically an apology update at this point.
Yeah. I mean, No Man's Sky is still doing apology updates, so...
Yeah, they're really sorry.
Yeah.
They're so sorry they put Pokemon in the game. That's how sorry they are.
That's how sorry they are. Alexander the Great...
Speaking of someone who should be sorry... Oh, sorry.
No, Alexander the Great is the free leader. I just wanted to throw that in real quick. Okay, go.
Oh, he's a good one. Speaking of someone who should be sorry, and Pokemon, let's talk about Nintendo and them not... giving a single good damn about what is on the eShop. There's an AI slot problem on the eShop.
Yes, there is. Yeah, I have you experienced this personally before, Phil? Where I think we are experienced enough to know, like, I shouldn't buy this off-brand. It's like, this is $2.50. That's weird. That kind of.
I would need like serious f off money to be able to like allow myself to do that. Like like I would buy these games fully knowing that they are trash.
Yeah.
If I had the money to not care about it, like it would be fun to play through. But
it would not be fun. Have you seen these games? Like they would not be.
Well, it's like watching a bad movie, like watching The Room. You do it with your friends, you get pretty imbibed in some capacity.
I see.
But yes, it's a bunch of games that are meant to look like other games. Sort of if you think about in terms of movies, it's like when Jurassic Park comes out and then like Prehistoric Park comes out straight to VHS. Mm-hmm. Or Transmorphers, the famed alternate to Transformers. Mm-hmm. But these are video games that are often, very, very thin, like reskins of mobile games. Or barely functioning games that are made to look like all sorts of different things. They have a picture here in the article from GameSpot that has Dead Gears Space War with a red logo that looks like a gear behind a character that looks a lot like Marcus Phoenix or John Travolta. Take your pick.
Yeah. I mean, this is really bad. Like, Nintendo needs to have some sort of quality control when they're just allowing people to post these games. It's very clear that these games are intended to confuse the customer, where it's like, okay, if the customer like doesn't speak English, but they've heard of Gears of War, and they see this, in another country, they don't know the exact translation. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can buy this and it's so cheap. And then it has absolutely nothing to do with Gears of War and look anything like the game. There's a problem of just Nintendo approving these games to be posted. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like there needs to be more quality control than does the game run. That doesn't seem to be the case. Sony has been cracking down on this, and this is becoming a rising problem because of AI. You can do a lot of AI generation where you post screenshots of a game that doesn't exist because it was AI generated, and then you're having an AI take an existing game and then reskin it so that it looks like a new game in which, you're infringing on other people's properties and whatnot. So it's a big old problem.
AI doing that?
Yeah.
That's I would never have believed my sweet little artificial robots and artists.
Come on, Claude. What are you doing? So, yeah.
Grok, let's get in here. We need to have a conversation about your behavior.
Yeah.
I think that this is just... it's funny because Nintendo used to be the high bar for having internal quality control. They would have the Nintendo seal of approval that would get turned down to a lot of games and not let those games be published on Nintendo platforms. And it seems like whatever the issue is, they've kind of rebounded the other direction, and they're just letting everything on. I mean, obviously, the Nintendo that we know and love has evolved and upgraded and updated itself over the years. But this is just kind of sloppy behavior that I think leads to where we're at. Just you can't really trust the eShop. I don't really go on the eShop unless I know that I'm going to go buy something specific. I don't go browse because I know I'm going to run into just hordes of this stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, again, like, I'd like to think that I'm not going to be fooled into something like this, but I just hate people being taken advantage of, whether it's somebody who doesn't speak the same language that the store is advertising in, or if it's a kid or something like that, where they're like, oh, it's only $2. I can afford that, So that really sucks. And with Sony cracking down on this and Xbox cracking down on this, it just kind of like, come on, Nintendo. Your market is largely children. You need to do something about this. So hopefully Eslop will stop. But I'm sure there will always be crappy little games somewhere in the deep corners of the internet if you really want to find them. So, all right. Next up, PlayStation Plus is seeing a price hike. But before you freak out, it is a very modest price hike, so that is good. PlayStation Plus Essential, the lowest PlayStation Plus subscription, is moving from $9.99 to $10.99, so it's a $1 raise. This sucks, but it's a $1 raise, which a $1 raise does feel... even if they're lying about it, and they very well could be, it does feel like, okay, costs have gone up, we need to increase it $1, as opposed to, and now Xbox Game Pass has lowered their prices back down, and I commend them for that. But prior to that Xbox Game Pass price hike was ridiculous and clearly not what they needed. Yep. They were just doing what they thought they could get out of customers. So yeah, it's a modest. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it is so modest, and in the times that we're in, it sucks to have another thing that takes $1 away from you. But also, gas is I think $39 a gallon down here in LA right now. I don't know if you're seeing similar thing. No, I was driving to work this morning and I saw that it was like $6, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, good, excellent.
Yep.
I'm not going anywhere.
Exactly. It's like, how much? I think what's the status with that new train or with the metro or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, just chuck me out. We're at my stop. I don't even need to roll.
Yeah.
I'll just hop off. It's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
Not a bad price increase. For me, for like the basic thing for $10.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense for me too. One thing that Sony hasn't really talked about at all was if you are buying the other tiers of it. They've only mentioned the lowest tier, and they only mentioned the month-to-month price. So if you're subscribing month to month, it's $10.99. But if you buy in 3 months or 6 months or pay for it in the year, obviously you get that discount that they do. So yeah,
makes sense.
We'll see what the other prices are. Hopefully it will be marginal and modest as well. So fingers crossed for that. All right. This is actually pretty interesting, and I want to try to get into this a little bit. So Marathon is going to be testing some new modes. Marathon's been doing okay, has been maintaining a decent player base, just not nearly anywhere near what like Arc Raiders has maintained, even though their numbers have gone down as well. And so they specifically mentioned that they're going to be testing next month a PvE only mode in the game, which I obviously am so excited for. I've talked about many times of wanting a PvE mode in Arc Raiders, and Arc Raiders has, Embark has not done that really. And so to see Marathon giving players something that they've been asking for in a more popular game, I think this is a great move and one that makes me a little likely to play it. So yeah, are you gonna?
I think this is pretty clever. I think I don't know if their game works as well for PvE.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's not that they can't like turn the knobs and like adjust the mob settings to be a little bit more challenging. I'm sure they can. Bungie is very good at that. We know from Destiny, from Halo, they have some of the best like AI in terms of enemy AI, I guess is the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all very exciting. I think that this is a great move because what does it hurt to have people like play the game a different way? I guess the argument is like that is a constant worry that you have when you're playing a PvP game. If you're not trying to play PvP, that someone's going to come up and jack your stuff. And I do think that there is something to that. There is a little bit of like that can add a level of urgency to what you're doing and everything. But also, I don't always want that. Sometimes I just want to chill and play a game where I like just have one thing to do. And there's a lot of times where I don't play Arc Raiders because I'm like, well, that's not the move that's going to happen there. Yeah. And if I could get another game where I am like kind of steadily advancing and getting gear that I need and all that stuff, and not have to worry and just be able to chill, I'd be playing a lot more Arc Raiders now than I did before. That's for sure. So
yeah, this
might pull me on board to Marathon. I've always loved Bungie, and I'm excited to see what they have to offer in their new game. So
yeah. I don't really see a downside to testing a mode for PvE. Like I think there's always going to be a market for action games where you are in a squad and you're playing against the environment. It's not player versus player. It's like, look at how successful Helldivers was. Like, come on. So, I get that some gamers are going to judge it and be like, well, that's not really Marathon. It's not really hardcore and whatnot. But I just think that that's not, there's a little bit of a void right now where the latest huge game that was a player versus environment, but it was cooperative, was Helldivers. But Helldivers came out in 2024 now. So it's been a hot minute, and early 2024 at that. So over 2 years ago. So I just think that for me, I am lacking that little bit of an experience of like just being able to play with your friends and not be just like, oh, we just got completely destroyed by this other team. And that is its own experience, and like in Arc Raiders, and that's fun and that's fine. But I do like a little bit more variety of an experience where it's a little bit more casual. It's a little bit more about the fun than the challenge. And so I'm excited to see, people play Marathon's PvE mode. And since you already have the game, Phil, I'm gonna penny for your thoughts when we get a chance to play it. So yeah,
I'll clock in. I'll put some hours on. I'll put some hours in at the old old Marathon mill.
Do you have it on Steam? Is that the?
Yeah.
How much time do you have in it right now? Can you pull that up?
Less than an hour. Remember when we played the beta that one time?
Yes.
That's more than I've played
the regular game.
This version, the regular game. Let's see. It's still installed, so that's something.
Yeah, that counts for something.
Pulled it off. Yeah. 11 minutes.
Wow. Okay, so that's maybe a tutorial match, maybe, or something like that.
I did the tutorial. Yep.
I hope that doesn't count the loading. So it probably does.
I probably did.
All right, and next up, there is a new 007 game, as we have been talking about for many, many months. You've probably seen the advertising. They have invested so much in marketing. This game has been delayed. So we were happy to see this game delayed because it did not look good when we first saw it at that big Sony State of Play, when it was the main attraction at that Sony State of Play. But everything since then seems like it's been running better. But recently, in an interview, they were talking about their expectations on how good the game is going to be. And they think that it is going to be the best James Bond movie or game, ever, which is a little ambitious to say that. And I would just temper expectations a little bit, because I think I know what they're trying to convey, which is that GoldenEye was great, but it's old. And this is shiny and it's new, and we have all these set pieces, and so it's Uncharted. So of course it's going to be better than some old game. But I think when you say that it's going to be the best game ever, you're immediately almost throwing bird feed out to trolls on the internet to be like, how dare you insult GoldenEye, the best video game of all time? So I would encourage them to
listen, I might not have played a game since 1997.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that GoldenEye is the best game ever.
Yeah, so I don't know. I am hopeful for this, and similarly to how I was just talking about there being a little bit of a void with cooperative action games, I think that there is a void when it comes to big set piece action games like Uncharted used to be. And, this obviously, you see a lot of Hitman elements in this version of 007, but it does seem like very high octane action. And we're not really getting a lot of that in the market right now. I can't even really think of another game that's even what is this game competing with? Really? I can't even think of
Horizon 2.
When did that game come out?
That was similar.
And even then, it's that's
2004.
And that's sci-fi and whatnot. And obviously this is going to stretch reality a little bit, but it aims to be.
Well, this feels like Uncharted. This feels like they're trying to make the new one. It's Uncharted with some Hitman in there. And I think that's a great mix, because there are times, I think, when you're playing Hitman, at least for me, where I will do the mission in a really cheesy, underwhelming way and just walk out and be like, that was it? And then get you did an S rating. And I'm like, I just threw a knife in the air and then it happened to hit the guy. So I think the sort of creativity and spontaneity of those types of encounters and that type of stealth is really, really fun. But then mixed with some big set pieces and things that will drive up this is also an action game, and James Bond is good at shooting people. That'll be a fun thing to interact with in this type of game as well.
What do you think could be a big differentiator for this game between it being, let's say, a 7 IGN to being a 10? Like, what can this game do that'll like really make it stand out for you?
If they take out the controls, if they take out the passing through or not passing through physical objects, if they make the game a boring chore that elite erudite journalists love to play, it's going to get a 10. If I think it'll probably be like a 7 or an 8, most likely. But what can they do? I think like this game really needs to feel like you're James Bond. It needs to have some really cool like options for getting by with your charisma, like doing. I think there needs to be like lots and lots of options for how to get a mission done and making you feel like you are not just like James Bond as we know it. You're not just Daniel Craig, which is I think kind of a stylistic choice because the character looks like a younger, different character, not someone we've seen as an actor before.
Yeah.
And if they make it feel like you are James Bond, but in a way that you are like figuring out some new way that you are discovering what it's like to be James Bond rather than like playing the role of a Brosnan James Bond or what is his name? Sean Connery James Bond.
Yeah.
Like if they nail that super spy feeling, I think it could be the greatest James Bond game ever because it actually feels like being James Bond and not just a first person shooter.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's going to be so hard for. I think the James Bond fans are very specific. It's kind of like Star Wars fans a little bit. You can't please every Star Wars fan. You can't please every James Bond fan. I think a big key for this game not getting a bad rating is how long the game is. Because if this game comes out and you can beat it in like 6 or 7 hours. Like it is going to get torn to shreds. Like in this world of live service and all of the RNG and grinding and everything like that, I don't know that a 6 or 7 hour experience is going to be enough to warrant a $70 full price game. So like I feel like it needs to really shoot for the length of like what Spider-Man 2 did, where it was like 18 hours or 20 hours, somewhere in the ballpark of that, where it feels like, okay, I played through 2 HBO seasons of James Bond, like something like that. But yeah,
an HBO James Bond show would go hard. That's just me adding that in real quick.
Sure. But yeah, I feel like the length is very important here. That's what she said.
I'm with you there. I think I think that's a pretty good point. Like it needs to be a James Bond story that probably they need to take more inspiration from the books than the films.
Yeah.
And give us a more fleshed out version of James Bond and not like a punchy action movie version. Or not punchy, I just mean it in terms of length of the film or length of the story.
Yeah.
While that is, I think, it's important for some of the bombast, and I'm not for something that overstays its welcome. I think if they make their levels like really feel like playgrounds, how many do you think, like, Hitman launches with like maybe 7 levels, but they're all so in depth and they reuse them in creative ways? What do you think is the number they need to hit of like different environments, different missions that you're doing for this game to feel complete?
I mean, different environments, 10. Like they don't have to be. Now, when I say when I say different, like that doesn't mean, well, there's a snow level and there's a lava level and there's a rocky level, like, and this is plains and this is the green hills, and like, no, they don't need to do that. But I need to go to different locations. It can be a town or a city or whatever. But yeah, they do need to mix things up so that you are experiencing different things. But yeah, I think like you should have like the arc of this game should be like, if you get to the 12-hour point. There needs to be like a mini climax before going back up to, to play the rest of the game or something like that. And then I think like, for me, I agree with you what you said earlier about this game is probably going to be a 7 or an 8. The only way I could see it being a 10 or just a really blockbuster, amazing game is if they mix things up more than they are right now. And right now, it's very much of like, all right, we're taking Hitman and Uncharted and we're slapping them together to make this newish thing, even though we're not technically doing anything that's new. And I think that Hitman is always great at inserting choice when it comes to how you want to tackle a mission, which is cool and awesome. But I think it's always more interesting to like have different choices of how the story can go. And I'm not sitting here like demanding that the game is Baldur's Gate and being like, I need all these different endings and all these different things I can do. But can you give me like, 2 different endings or maybe 3 different endings or something like that? Give me a choice whether to spare this guy or to shoot this guy, stuff
and
like
make that have ramifications on the game.
Yeah. And I think like when you're talking about a single player narrative story game, like I get you want to go for the blockbusteriness, and so certain set pieces have to be the same, which is fine. But like I want to see more, and I think when you have games that have different choices, that's when gamers play through the games again. So like I beat Star Wars Outlaws begrudgingly, but the reality is like I didn't really make any choices, and so I didn't need to play through the game again. Whereas like Dispatch is all about making choices. I played through that game twice and then watched my girlfriend play through her own playthrough of that game. So it's, I think like, and then, in relation to the length of it, like hopefully being at least, like 20 hours ish, that's how you get more length of game. It's like, all right, I went through and I did these decisions. Now I'm going to go back through and do these decisions and see how it changed. So I like the choice in gameplay, but give me some choice in narrative a little bit. I think that would be good. So,
I think you're right there. It needs to at least feel as good as Mass Effect, like in terms of the story. The story has to have that level of can change. And that's not something that I've seen them really advertise.
No.
So I think
they're not going to have
we're
that.
We're going to be pretty.
No.
It's
going to be like
pretty let down by that.
Do you want to bribe the doorman or do you want to steal the key card? And it's like, oh, okay, all right. So,
or do you want to smooch him?
Oh,
you want to bribe him with little kisses?
So that might affect the story a little bit.
A gay James Bond is probably what we need as a country and as a world. And if they did that, I'm giving it a personal 10 out of 10.
I don't know how England would feel about that. So, but I guess we'll have to ask them. Any English listeners, let us know in the comments on that one. So yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the GGG podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for the numbers. Really appreciate it. Top 20. Love to see that on our stats page, so that's awesome. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to our YouTube, which we have far less viewers on YouTube, head over to that YouTube channel and subscribe to it. That is at Golden Glaze Gaming. You can find us the GGG Podcast. You can type it in that way as well. And if you're listening to the audio podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music, or any of the other podcast places that we distribute to, follow us on those as well. We'd really appreciate it. We will be back next week, and I think Phil and I are going to try. We'll see if we can get Phil on some Soul Frame so we can talk a little bit about the beta that is going on right now. So, and if you yourself out there are interested in the Soul Frame beta, go buy a copy of Game Informer. It should be like $10, and it should be, as long as it's wrapped in plastic still, there should be a beta code in there with your name on it. So a little free publicity for Game Informer because I want to support what they do. So,
but don't go in there and just take the thing out. Don't do that.
Buy Game Informer or subscribe to them for the frickin' 3 schmeckles they charge you a month.
This one's for the video listeners.
Yeah. All right. Peace out, Phil. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.